No phony stuff in there, it's all true.
Where are you sitting? What is this?
This is the old truck that was made, I don't know how long ago. I guess 40-some, yeah. About 40 years ago. I had that built in New Orleans, Louisiana at the Fruhoff Trailer Company. And while they was making the truck, we were showing in schools and all, playing 2 and 3 schools a day. Had the chimp that Joe, that's the one that bit me. He'd ride the bicycle and the roller skates and jump rope and regular act. We got him from the Royal Oak Park Zoo in Detroit, Michigan. He was a performer and got a little too rough to handle. He was just right then for the boxing match.
Now, do you perform anymore, or are you?
No, we quit. I don't miss the road either. It's funny, 58 years on the road. Sometimes moving every day. Sometimes we'd go sometimes with the circus, sometimes with the carnival. Most of the time by ourselves in the little towns, though. Same towns every year, same people, just different wrestlers. Didn't get them in the same ones want to go in the second time. We put little ads in the paper, wanted athletic men to earn $5 a second holding a 85-pound ape shoulders on the floor. That sounds easy. You got $5 just to try. But the $5 just pay for the shirt, because they will lose that, and the pants too if we give them the rough one. And most of them would pick the little chimp, and that little chimp was rough on any of them. The big chimp would go along with you. He'd shake hands with you. If you want to get rough, he'd get rough. If you didn't, just sit down. He'd sit down, put his arm around your neck.
Now, what you used to do some blackface routines and things. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was a blackface comedian. We like I don't know who would describe it like now, because it's been so long since we've done that. But that used to be a lot of blackface comedians. And we'd put on the old medicine show acts and have a free show and then sell patent medicine, liniment, salve, soap, tonic. And we give a little free show, you know, each between acts, and then sell the medicine.
What was, you know, just you must have after all these years a highlight, a couple of anecdotes, your favorite stories from all these years of traveling around. Do you have one for us or two?
Well, I think about the funniest thing, I was on a circus, a little circus, small circus, out of Petersburg, Virginia. They call it Silver Brother Circus. And I had a motorcycle, a sidecar, and I got some animals together. I thought the thing was going to stay out, you know, all winter. I didn't think it was going to close. And I had a coyote and a honey bear and a kinkajou and horned toads and different animals like that in little cages. So the show closed, got cold and it closed, and that was the end of it. They went into winter quarters, and I didn't have nothing but a sidecar. My brother was with me, younger brother than I am. And a fellow by the name of Peg Knight had a wooden leg. So we got all that stuff on the sidecar, loaded down. I don't think you could get it. It would be almost a pickup truck half full now, that we had tied together, the suitcases and everything, and we got on the motorcycle. My brother was in front of me, and I was driving it. And Peg, with the peg leg, his leg would drag the ground. We had to wire it to the handlebars. So we were going down the road, and the first big curve we hit, the sidecar wheel broke down. We fell off, and Peg couldn't fall off. He was tied to it, and the coyote got out, was on the animals, and Peg was hollering. We thought it was eating him up, but they was fighting among themselves. And we finally got that all patched up, and on the road again, but couldn't make about 4 or 5 miles an hour. So slow because the sidecar wheel was all out of kilter, the one that we picked up there to take his place. So it was more like jumping down the road instead of riding smooth, up and down, up and down. There we went. People go by and say, what in the hell is that? I couldn't figure it out either what it was.
What about that story about dressing the little apes up and make believe it was a lost boy?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was Joe too. He had his little suit on. We was riding around, and I seen this old colored fella out on the highway. He was old and wasn't too far from our home. I said, Uncle, I got a little boy here, and he don't seem to know how to talk. I wonder if you've know where he belongs. He looked at him, he said, looked like to me there's something wrong with that boy. You take him down to Lynchburg. They'll find out who his pappy is. There's a lot of things like that happen, a lot of times, a lot of times.
What other practical jokes do you play using the chimps and stuff?
Well, the gorilla, we used to take him riding in the truck too. Well, he used to move over the run with me. He'd sit in the cab of the truck, and he'd beat on the cab to make, when he see somebody ahead, to make him look, I guess, because then when we get even with him, make it like he's coming out of the window. And I've seen people fall in ditches. I've seen them run through the bars. They thought that thing, didn't know what it was, beating on the cab and then coming out at them right there, you know. No platform here now.
Yeah.
Let me get up here. Right, get up in here. Getting some damn hole, can't get around hardly. I think I had to quit the road anyhow. Yeah, we'd have the sign out here what time the show was going to be, and then when they get ready, so now, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to open up. We got a good man going in, fast. He's going to try to throw that little ape down. Now, when you people get in there, don't turn your head, because when you look back, it might be over. I want you to read the sign good. No show guaranteed to last over 5 seconds, maximum 5 minutes. And we'd get the crowd go on both sides and fill it up every time we'd open up. And I'd tell the fella, now, when you go in, if it gets too rough, get behind me. And I tell the crowd too, but after the crowd got in, I tell the man, is any teeth lost in there? We always donate them to the elks. And I said, you can tell it's safe. See mine knocked out. We had a lot of teeth knocked out. A lot of teeth. They signed a release before they went in. It was only the rough ones that got beat up and really got bruised up. Some of them lay off work a week. But if it was a good sport, the ape knew it better than that. He done sized them up before he got in there. He done looked in there and heard the fella talking and all that. They knew exactly what was coming off. And if it was a tough guy, he didn't last but a few seconds. If it was a good sport, it went on a good while.
Why did people wrestle the apes? What do you think was the attraction?
To show how tough they was, most of them, show they could throw a little old ape down like it was nothing. It showed their muscle. We showed Morganton, North Carolina, and they will forget, there was two fellows, white fella and colored fella, with black belt karate guys. And the colored fellow was out here showing how I wanted to know if it was all right to kick him. I said, yeah, that's all right, because I knew he'd never get a chance to kick him. And he said, all I want is one kick, and he showed the crowd how he could kick. Oh, out here he was kicking this way and kicking that way, and it wasn't going to last but a little while. Well, directly he got in, he says, now if I don't whip that thing, I'll give you the belt. He got in there, and before he could raise his leg up, that chimp had done snatched his feet out from under him and stomped him so bad and grabbed him by the seat of the breeches and a bar in the other hand and slung him around. I couldn't get to him because his feet was flying around, you know. The ape was holding his feet up, and the man going around, the belt was all that was holding him. When I got to stop, he said, "Let me out, you can have the belt, no more of that ape for me."
Talking loud, is it starting to pump and hiss?
No.
I don't know if I had the thing set right there. Street, we saw a taxidermy shop over there, and we thought, was that curious coincidence or what?
No, that fella, he come in after we did. And he does good mail order business. We only never had nothing fixed over there except a big old alligator that died, but that's all we had stuffed.
Where'd you put him?
Well, we used to set him on around the corner there. When people would come in, they'd walk right up against it with his mouth open, and it would scare you, you know, run right into the alligator when you turned the corner there. But being out in the weather so long, he went to nothing. It didn't hold up too good.
So I get the feeling then, Bob, that you are what is called a practical joker. Would that be true?
I don't know. No, I don't know. Well, I guess, yeah.
There any, you know, how about another story or so that you remember that was pretty neat?
Well, let's see, yeah. Yeah, we had another fella in, I think it's Berryville, Virginia. He went in, tough guy. He thought he was tough. And he lost his breeches so quick, he didn't know it until his bare butt touched the chain link fence in there. And then he stood straight up. I thought the crowd of everybody just screaming and hollering. He didn't know he'd lost his pants. Things was happening there so fast, he didn't know when they flew off. And he was scared too, probably.
I saw some pictures in the book torn off.
Huh?
I seen the book that you've got some of your shirts torn off.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I used to get shirts by the hundred at the Goodwill store. The gorillas, and the people liked it too. Every time I'd go in the cage with the gorilla, he'd tear my shirt off. And the crowd liked that. So he never did tear the pants. He didn't try to tear the pants off. He knew that was all right. Yeah, he'd get me by the shoulder. He'd take my head in his mouth. I'd give him a banana and I'd make it like I eat mine. And he'd take my whole face in his mouth and make me give him that little piece of banana. I only got hurt that way one time. I had 2 stitches in the corner of that eye. He had my head in his mouth, and a bunch of little kids screamed, and he went move like that, and an old spike went in his 2 stitches right in the corner of that eye.
Yeah, you used to be pretty good buddies with your gorilla?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and Otto, we used to take Otto out up there. He's a big fella, too. And the last time I took him out, I hadn't taken him out in 7 or 8 months. You can't put a collar on the neck. The neck's bigger than the head. You have to tie him by the wrist or by the foot. So I had a chain on his wrist, and I got out of the cage coming down, and the chimps all hollered, and he drugged me back up in that cage like I was nothing. I talked to him a little while, finally got him out. Then the wife took 2 pictures of him carrying me home, wanting to get back in that cage after we were through playing. We had another funny thing happen. We right here at the railroad, and some railroad workers come in a truck and parked it right down next to the railroad there, right near the cages, pretty close to the cages. And they was all standing around the truck, and I didn't think nothing about it because I was taking the gorillas out every day and tying them out. Well, the gorilla was ahead of me because I had him on a lead, and the people all seen him coming around, didn't see me on the end of the rope, and there was 5 of them. How they got in, I don't know, dived in the cab of that truck. But they couldn't get the door shut. And of all the screaming and hollering you heard, they thought that was their last go there. And that gorillas come and towed them, and all of them in the truck. Couldn't get, couldn't shut the door.
How about the time when it got got into the church, the black church or something?
About what?
There's a story.
Oh, no, that wasn't, that was a monkey. That was a monkey down in my hometown. Well, in no town, way back in the woods, that's all. That's nearest town's 10 miles. But little monkey got loose, and I had given him to my brother because I didn't want him. But all they knew around there was gorillas because they had seen them and all like that. And they was having church down a place called Poplar Spring. And the little monkey run in the church, and all the people run out. He went up and drinking out of the water bucket, but somebody hollered gorilla. They thought, they didn't know size or nothing else. They just knew gorilla, and everybody, that broke up church meeting. Another time, a fella in New Orleans, Louisiana, got me to bring a chimp on the way, about 55 pounds then. He wanted me to bring him in the pool hall there to show all his friends the funny looking chimp. So I had him ready to go in. The chimp goes up and opens the door and starts in, and this was right on the bayou. Well, when they seen the chimp start in, they dived through the window, head first, right out in the bayou. That was right next to Houma, Louisiana there.
How did your kids like growing up around this? What was that like?
Well, they was all buddies. They played together. He'd pull him in the wagon, they'd pull him in the wagon, and they played with the toys together and stuff like that. Just like another kid.
What were your kids' names and how did, you know?
Bobby and Velda Mae. And they still like animals, but they don't want no part of the zoo. Too much.
Is there anything like this going on nowadays? I don't mean just the gorilla thing, but I mean, are there any of these traditions going on at the traveling show like you did, or is that time gone?
Well, I guess gone by with the animals. I mean, there's nothing like that. Never was nothing like that with chimps. I knew chimp people that had chimps and all that, but they never worked them like that.
Why don't you, just when I got a nice shot here, why don't you introduce yourself again, tell us who you are, where we are.
My name is Robert Noell. I was born and raised in Bedford, Virginia, back up in the mountains. And we are now at the little zoo in Tarpon Springs that we've had for 29 years with the most chimps and the most gorillas and the least price of admission. I started with nothing, now I got twice that much. So I'm holding my own.
Continuity, describe your, was it your son-in-law? Does he work here? What does he do?
He's hips, he does all the work. Joe Dedo, his son-in-law, and he lives right here on the place. He does all the work looking after the animals now, feeding, watering, cleaning cages and everything. He said he used to like to go to the zoo. He was born and raised in Staten Island, New York, and he used to go up to the Bronx Zoo and spend hours watching the animals. I think now he wished he'd never had seen an animal. But he likes it. He likes it. He talks to all of them.
And how about you? What's the last thing? Where do you go from here with this zoo? Is this like is this your retirement place too?
Yeah, I guess I'll finish it up here. I want to get on the road some this year because visits different shows, circuses. We generally do that every year. I've been going out and visit circuses and little shows and all.
But this place here is like not only a retirement home for...
Yes, for old folks too. Hell, I'm older than some of the chimps.
Bob, why don't you just introduce yourself? Tell us who you are, what you do, where we are.
Is that the right
Okay.
way?
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, just... Okay, go ahead.
My name is Robert Noell. We're here in Tarpon Springs, place that we bought 29 years ago. Retirement home for chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans. I was born and raised in Virginia, up in the mountains, near Bedford, Virginia. And I was on the road practically all my life, ever since I was 12 years old. I'm 70 years old now. I was 70 in December. And most all of these animals that come in here, people brought them in as pets, and some of them were circus performers, and some of them got too mean to handle, too rough to handle. So I thought we'd start a retirement home here for all the chimps and different kind of apes. We started with nothing, now we got twice that much. So,
tell me a little bit about your history with the starting with the medicine show.
yeah, when I first started on the road, I was 12 years old. A little medicine show come to my hometown. Wasn't no town, just a big store, a place called Syfax, Virginia. And I was helping them around there, carry water and put up the tents and different things. So I asked the fellow if he could use me, and he said, yeah. So I went with him. His name was Etling. Had the San Blas Indian Medicine Company. And the second week I was on with him, I went on the stage as a blackface comedian. And I learned to juggle, learned ventriloquism. And the fellow that I was with, he was a magician. I learned how to entertain the crowd with magic. Finally had a one-man show. I could entertain the crowd for 3 days by myself, different show each night with the juggling, balancing, and ventriloquist, stuff like that. And when I was 15, I had my own show. I went out by myself through Virginia, West Virginia, and Kentucky, and out through there. That's crap. If you felt something hit you, it wasn't a bird. Yeah, yeah, he thought it just then.
Chimps get pretty excited, huh?
Yeah, they just biggity. They just biggity.
So you were 15 years old, and what was happening?
I started my own little show, vaudeville show. I'd say 2 or 3 days in the place and move on. I'd go around, put out the bills for maybe move 10 miles, 12 miles, something like that, twice a week. And then when I got married, the wife and myself, we'd started with the first chimp we got. I liked animals and I liked chimpanzees. And the fellow was a little hard to get in the box sometimes, the chimpanzee was. They only weighed about 50 pounds. And a lot of people would laugh at me trying to put him in the, I had a cage inside of this cage, you know, a cage in there. And they'd laugh how they like to try it. So there's two fellas in a little town next to Roanoke said if I'd let them in there, they'd put him in the box. So I had the crowd go out and pay to come in to see them put him in the box. Instead of that, the chimp run them in the box. And he turned the box upside down with them in it, and he could get his hands through the cracks in the cage there just enough to goose them.
We've heard this story before.
Yeah. He'd goose them, and I think the first show that started off to be the wrestling match was the funniest show of all, with them two men in the box, and the chimp turned the box upside down, and all of them in it. And they had another chimp liked to hit, so it put gloves on him, made a box out of him. And that's the way the thing kind of started, and kept adding on and adding things to it. Then we do it. We put as high as 3 men in one chimp. The chimp had a muzzle and gloves on. He couldn't bite, couldn't scratch, but the men would fall down just as fast as they got in the door. You'd get them around the neck, kick them in the stomach, eject the man's feet out from under him. And one of them, the tough one, he got a kick out of tearing the guy's breeches off. He knew the fight would be over directly as that happened, and we'd cut the lights out. The show didn't last long, 5 seconds a lot of times. They'd holler, "Let me out." But we had a sign on the front, "No show guaranteed to last over 5 seconds, maximum 5 minutes." We played a lot of the wrestling circuits and different places like that. And that's the same chimp that boxed, the one, after I worked him 15 years, bit my fingers and hand off. That's sewed back on. That was worse than this.
Let's see that hand again.
Yeah, them 2 fingers bit off and throwed at me, and this hand was bit off from there to there, all the bone leaders in there.
So why did that happen?
I just practically, I guess it was my fault. I was trying to put him in a different cage, but I'd worked him so long, I just didn't think he would bite me. If I'd have given him a banana or orange, he'd have went on in the cage. And that's the one bit. And then I had another one tear my eyelids off. Both eyelids tore off. Another one knocked my teeth out. Another one chewed my leg up. It was a little rough working with big chimps. The ones I would work with was after people had got to where they couldn't handle them for putting on acts with shows and circuits and things like that. And they was tough.
Show me your teeth again there. There's that little thing you just did. Well, now, if chimps are so tough, why did you love them so much? Why did you work with them?
Well, I had just what they was looking for. They like to beat up on people and grab you and all like that, so I made an act out of it. I put the muzzle and gloves on. They would actually put them on. All I had to do was buckle the muzzle, because they knew somebody was coming in there where they could show off with.
But it seems to me, did you like them just because they made money, or did you like the animals?
I like the animals too, and they did make good money too. And I was doing what they liked, you know, that wasn't something that I made them do, it's what they was looking forward to.
How tough are the chimps? I mean, tell me a few of the stories
Well,
about the wrestling matches.
A 50-pound chimp can whip any man. I don't care, judo, karate. We played all the army bases, you know, Fort Gordon, Fort Bragg, Fort Campbell. And we're showing down at Jacksonville, Florida, a Marine base down there. They sent a guy out of Washington down there to see what method that little thing was using to whip all them hand-to-hand combat guys. And we never had no trouble with the SPCA. They'd be out in the crowd every night, but they said that ain't cruelty to man, to animal, that's cruelty to man. And they said if they were fool enough to go in there, that was all right.
Bob, talk to me a little bit about what it was like traveling around this country for 30 years with a show. What it was like, and then things have changed a bit.
Well, back there, let's see, 40, 50, 55 years ago, when I had my own little show, a lot of times through Kentucky and places like that, when you'd want to go into town, a little village like, you'd have to put a free show on for the mayor and the officials there to see if it was all right for everybody else to come out and see. And then all their families would want free tickets and all. And the people was, I don't know whether you call them real ignorant. I think it was real ignorant, because they'd get up on the hill at night and roll wagon wheels down. They'd throw dynamite under the car. They was really mean, ignorant people through Kentucky and West Virginia that time. Real ignorant, just didn't know nothing, you know, thought they was it. And I got to be just as mean and as bad as any of them that walked up there too. I had to be to go through them towns at night and put on a little show. They'd be sitting there and the guys would take the knife and be cutting the seat and the canvas and everything else.
So how do you feel, now that you've done it all, would you go back and do this all over again in your lifetime?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I could make it through. I don't know how I got by that way. But the wrestling, boxing matches, I like that, you know. But I don't think I'd do it again. We just so lucky we never got nobody killed. I thought it was time to quit.
What made you decide to quit finally?
Well, we began to have a lot of the people in the crowds, always hecklers and all that. It wasn't worth it. It was worth it. It was getting worse all the time. They'd get all drunked up and doped up and then want to go in and fight the ape, and you had to kind of look out for them so they didn't get killed, because we had a lot of people knocked out in that thing there. And even had a football helmet on. But that didn't make no difference. That chimp grab them by the belt in one hand, swing on the balls with the other, and sling them around till they flew out of the breeches and the fight was over. If it's a good sport, we'd cut the lights out quick. And if it wasn't, well, we'd leave them on a good while there. The crowd just hold each other and fall down and laugh. The same people for a month would follow us around. So at that time we was moving once a week. And to see the same people out there for a month, look to see the show, be the first ones in.
Did you have rules or anything?
Well, we'd tell them what was the best for them, and they thought that we was trying to help the chimps, you know. And not many of them would follow the rules. We'd tell them not to catch the muzzle and stand behind me at first till when it got too rough. A lot of times I'd get knocked down the man too.
Now, you had something, Mae mentioned a certificate, but I forgot.
Yeah, if there's a good sport, we give them a certificate there to showed good sportsmanship, and they'd sign the thing that they wasn't hurt. They wasn't supposed to get hurt in there, but a lot of them, they'd be signing the release and blood be dripping out of the nose on the paper that they wasn't hurt, but they wanted to get that certificate, and they'd go home and show the other people. They'd have to get one too. Old people, everybody. We had women, lots of women going there, but the chimps wasn't rough with the women. The worst thing you do is take their shoes off and tickle their feet. But regularly they would get in the door and they'd get it closed. I'd say, now don't let him catch you, because see what happened to so-and-so? He pulled your clothes off. Well, it was a foot race then. Screaming, hollering, running around, jumping on my back. It was real funny. It was funny. And the chimp was chasing them, but he wasn't trying to catch them. When they'd go around, a lot of times I'd open my legs up and let the chimp go between my legs and catch him at the back there, you know, and then the crowd would scream and holler.
Are there any shows like this today? Is there anything?
No, there's nothing like it. I had a couple of people that was with me, and they tried it, but it was too rough. One fella tried it, and he thought he could put the muzzle on the chimp, and the crowd would be in there, and the chimp would beat him up, and people said, "We've seen enough of our money, that's all right, come on out."
How did a show work in those days? What was a typical show for you? How did it start?
Well, we had a platform, but we never had to ballet like other shows to get the crowd. All we had to do was put a sign up on the board, so-and-so is going to wrestle the ape tonight at a certain time, and that's all. It didn't take no ballet and nothing like that. They was there. And we had a time getting them away, like on a fairground, to go to other places because they was waiting for the next fight. They didn't want to leave. They didn't want to miss nothing.
What did your setup look like? I understand you had like a white picket fence and stuff.
Yeah, we had a fence around the front, and had the big semi here, and a sidewall went clean around it there where 400 people could see the fight at one time. And we charged admission to go in. Years ago, I made more charging 10 cents than I did charging $2 at the last.
How did you decide to start the retirement home?
Well, I was getting on up in age, and I seen the possibility of opening up a place where people could go through and see the animals. So that's the reason we made a retirement home for them. All of that, of all the animals that's in this place here now, I don't know, close to 100, everything here. All of them but 6 was brought in here that got too rough to handle, or too many permits to move from one state to the other. That was another thing too. We had to get a permit for each state and all kind of inspections and all kinds of stuff like that. It got to where it wasn't worth it.
Did you think of these, of the great apes you had as sort of part of your family? I know you brought children up around these things.
Yeah, they got the best of everything, and you can look through here and you won't see nothing looks like it's hungry either. I go to Tampa twice a week, get 2 truckloads of produce, bananas and potatoes and corn and apples and stuff like that. We don't have no meat eaters. I didn't want nothing where I had to kill something to feed cat animals, nothing like that.
What about when the chimps were young? I saw pictures of you, I think it was one of the orangutans or something, lying in bed sleeping.
Yeah, they used to wear clothes just like kids, sat out on the front with us. They were just like kids. And they was brought up just like kids. They understood what you said. We didn't talk their language, but it was the language that they understood too.
Would you ever let them in the house or in your...
Oh yeah. Yeah, they had the free run of everything, but at night we'd put them up. And they wouldn't tear up nothing. Now a little monkey, you take one in there, well you train him not to too. He'd tear the curtains down, turn the television over and everything else. But the chimps and the orangutans, they knew, and the gorillas. I think the orangutan's the smartest of all of them. And then the gorilla, I'd put the chimp right on